How is it going, Pizza Nation?
Pizza Nation, let's ride.
Let's ride. Sean, how are you, my friend?
Dude, doing well. I'm tired.
Yeah.
It's that time of the year. It's
Mm.
like you push super hard all year long, and then you get to a certain part of the year where it's like, all right, let's just wrap it up here, you
Yep.
know?
Yep.
I feel like I'm at that point mentally, you
That-
know? My
That's fair.
it's like one of those things where,
You're
you
ready
know,
for the off season already.
well, no. Basketball's great.
No, not
Basketball's
basketball. I'm just meaning metaphorically.
the off season being like 2023.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just ready for 2022 to be done. You know what I
I
mean?
see.
Like
Yeah, yeah.
I've just been mentally engulfed in I went through and replayed God of War last week and beat that, and then
Okay, sure.
I started playing through Ragnarok earlier today, and
Okay,
that's been fantastic. And
right
so,
on.
yeah, man, there's been a lot of good basketball.
Good.
Even the Pistons have been playing better of late. In the last 10 games, they're 4-6,
Nice.
and they only lost by 6 to the Pelicans last night when Bojan got ejected in the middle of the third quarter. And like he literally just got like double text in like a half a second. He
Oh,
said
well,
something to the
okay.
ref, got a tech, and he just went, and then they were like, all right, you're out. It was the weirdest double ejection I've ever seen in my entire life.
I'm
But
into it.
yeah, man. Just watching lots of basketball,
Nice.
not getting no sleep. That's how I do. Yeah,
For
man.
for sure, brother. Yeah, we've well, not myself so far, luckily, fingers fucking crossed, but the flu has hit the household pretty badly this week. Oh,
Sick.
yeah, so it's been real fun. Luckily, I've avoided it, but yeah, my wife is just she's had the flu all week, so that's been a real treasure.
Mhm.
And then yeah, other than that, I've been watching a shitload of hockey as one does. So I've been enjoying the hockey season quite a lot.
What's been the biggest, real quick,
Yeah,
just
go
out of
ahead.
curiosity, what's been the biggest storyline in the NHL thus far this season?
It's got to be the Devils. It has to be the New Jersey Devils. This team was expected to be dog shit. Like they were expected to be one of the worst teams ever put on ice in a lot of ways, or
Uh-huh.
at the very least, just be a bad team. Like just
This
at
team
the
was this team was going for Victor Wembanyama for all intents and
basically,
purposes.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. In basketball terms, they were going for Victor. Like this
I
was a
think even I
team,
think they're so bad at hockey. I think even in hockey terms, they're going for Victor Wembanyama.
right? It was they were kind of they weren't too dissimilar from the Pistons in a lot of ways. Do you have some breaking news right now, Sean?
No, I'm looking at their record. I
Yeah,
pulled it up.
exactly. So the thing of it is they were expected to be like the Pistons. Like they've got a couple of guys that are good. Like they're starting to like get some of that talent like on their roster and stuff like
Mhm.
that. But like they were kind of in most people's opinions gonna be similar to the Pistons, where like sometimes they're kind of fun and the young guys are still kind of learning, but like for the most part, they're gonna be dog shit and they're probably gonna be like a bottom 5, bottom 3 team in the league. Well, that's not the case, Sean, because would you go ahead and please tell the folks at home what their record is?
So they've played 26 games.
Yes.
They are 21-4 with one overtime loss.
Yes, that is
S-
correct. Which in hockey gives you a point.
Yeah. So essentially they're insane. So it
Yeah,
sounds like they're like the Utah Jazz where like they were like not supposed to be good,
that's correct.
but for some reason came out swinging and are
They've
atop
been
the
amazing.
the difference is Utah's kind of come back down to earth a little bit.
Mm,
They're in the middle of the standings now, but still like that, dude,
yeah, this
that's
team not so much.
insane.
They
You know what
tied
I
their
think would
franchise record
you know what I
for
think
sorry, go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, you know what I think would make the New Jersey Devils a franchise, like a potential dynasty?
Okay.
They just need to get the guys that we saw from the Texas Stars, and like they will get any goal they want.
I hate you so much. We didn't need to bring up the worst game we've ever seen
Oh,
live.
100% we had to bring up the worst game we'd ever seen.
Yeah, so Sean and I
100% we had to bring that up.
well, first of all, thank God that game was free. We went to
Oh,
a
yeah.
game for free,
Great time, great
to
time.
see yeah, oh, of course. I mean,
Dude,
we
by
went to
the
go
way,
see
could
our
I
local, Grand Rapids Griffins and,
uh-huh.
who aren't really a bad team this
Yeah,
year. I mean, they're
so
not, like, horrible.
they're the minor league affiliate of the Red Wings, and
Mhm.
so, like, in our neck of the woods,
They're
it's a
the
pretty
big
thing to go do, especially free tickets, Saturday night, like, good time.
yeah.
By the way, the thing that was really egregious,
Mhm.
I paid for, I went and got concessions. I covered, we went with our buddy Alec. He asked me to get him a beer. I was like, "All right, I'll get you a beer." I didn't realize what I was committing to
You're a
there because
fucking idiot.
well, like, I thought he was gonna pay me back, but it was like, "Oh, well, like, like, we can, like," he was like, "Oh, well, this could, like, be for parking and all this stuff." So,
I
like,
really
I
hope
got
he sees this episode so that you get a really awkward text.
oh, I don't care. It's hindsight now. I don't
That's
care.
fair.
Hey, he got us free tickets. He drove us there.
That's a really good point. It's a good
Yeah.
point.
So, yeah, we had a
But yeah,
great
the
time.
beers are not cheap at Van Andel Arena.
No, but what really bit it was that, like all together, I got literally all I got, a
Yeah,
cup of fries,
sure.
a
Which are
a
very
a cup a
mediocre.
large Mountain Dew,
Uh-huh.
and a beer that was quite literally
Like what, like a Bud
like
Light?
like this height, like that
Yeah,
size
okay.
cup.
Standard, yeah, yeah.
Guess how much I spent?
Let's
Mind
see.
you, this is our local minor league hockey
Yeah, yeah,
arena
that's gotta be
concession.
just under $40, but it's gotta be close to 30, like, somewhere in that range.
$36.
Yes, that's about what
That's
I was gonna say, yes, because it's about 12 for the beer,
well, 'cause
about, like, 7 or 8 for the drink, and then probably about 7 or 8 for the fries, somewhere in there? Somewhere in there?
yeah, and then here's the real kicker. Here's the real audacity.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
They ask for a tip.
Oh, yeah. Well, is it one of those screens that automatically does? Because, like, everything does that nowadays. That's, like, the
Yes.
meme that's been going around, which is so funny and true. Like, random shit will just ask for a tip now where I'm like, "The fuck are you talking about a tip? Like, get the fuck out of here." Like
Well, and like then well, here's the thing. I did that thing where I saw that there was a tip and I panicked and I was like, uh,
you
cause
tipped
like,
him, didn't you?
well, like, cause like, here's the thing.
20% to the random fucking computer, which does not go to the worker at all. Like, that's one of the main reasons I don't tip at those fucking things. That tip is going straight to the stadium. You know that there is no fucking chance that Betty behind the concessions is getting that fucking 20%. Like,
Oh,
no
100%.
shot.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That ain't going to Betty's children for Christmas. That ain't going to their Roblox collection.
Bishop. Yo, get him on camera. There he is. Oh, he's beautiful.
Oh yeah, he's meowing. He
He's
hates he
beautiful.
hates when I hold him, but he's like asking for my attention. He normally likes to go on my bed, which is right
Gotcha.
directly behind
That.
whatever this is.
You essentially just sleep on Cade and Sadiq Bey every night.
We all cuddle. It's great.
Y'all just cuddle. No, so Sean, other than the flu ravaging this household, luckily, like I said, I've avoided it for the most part.
That's good.
I haven't felt super great, especially because like sleeping has not been as easy because it's just been a whole thing. So anyways, but in the meantime, yeah, I've been watching a lot of hockey. I've also been diving into Skyrim quite a fuckload. Like
Dude,
I have
I just whenever I'm online, whenever I like am on my PS5, all I see is
yes.
Robert is playing Skyrim, and I'm
I've
like, how many different consoles is this guy gonna play Skyrim on? Like literally,
First of all, it's hilarious because I forgot that that tells you like what I'm doing or whatever, which is awesome. But yeah, dude, I'm so like I need you to understand that I'm back in like it's 2011 again. Like I am
is this like the
balls deep in
16th or the 17th time?
at least. I don't know.
It's
Dude,
insane. Like it's like
I'm
four times a year. You come to me and it's like it's like 2011 again.
Dude.
I'm like, dude.
I'm hooked back in. Like, it's as if it's a brand new game. Like, I'm experiencing for the first time again. I don't know how
So
that's possible, but I'm back in.
yep. So before we get into sports and like like all
Yeah,
this
yeah.
other stuff, because
Yeah,
this
fuck the
episode's
people in the comments being like, ugh. Anyway.
yeah, that someone was like, "What is this? This is." I'm like, dude, it's called the
This is
Pizza
two
Palace.
friends
Like,
hanging out. That's
it's
literally the podcast,
it's
you
called the
fuck.
pizza. It's called the Pizza Palace. Read the room. Anyway, he uh, so
Yeah.
that that joke made me completely lose my train of
I'm
thought.
sorry, but that just killed me. It was just, it's called the Pizza Palace. Read the beat room. So good.
I mean, like, am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. Read the fucking room.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like I've been just fucking balls deep. I've got an archer
Oh
build
yeah,
going. I'm
I
a wood
remember what I
elf.
was gonna say. So whenever I go to your apartment, like
Uh
there's a pie chart of what's on your TV.
sure, of
It's
course.
generally
Oh
so like
no.
80% of the time it's games, 20% of the time it's TV. If it's on the TV, it's either the Golden Knights or it's the Yankees.
Oh, okay.
And then otherwise, if it's gaming, it's either Roblox,
Well, that
NHL.
was yeah, yeah. Okay, go ahead.
That was a weird phase in your life.
Well, no, no, no. I mean, Roblox are fine or whatever, but like I don't play it super consistently.
No, I know. I was just,
No, but I mean, I like Roblox. I
but
mean,
always NHL, whatever year it is. Just
always.
this man always
I
like
have a
says,
disease with NHL.
"Oh my god, it's such a toxic, abusive relationship because you hate it so much," and you're like,
Yeah. It's been good though. I'm bringing the Minnesota Wild to the championship, so we'll see.
"Oh my."
But no, actually I thought you were gonna bring up the fact that like 50% of the time you get over to my house and I have World War II in color on.
Oh yeah, that was a weird phase where I
Oh,
just
it's not a phase. It's still it has been a thing for most of my life.
for me, it was the time that like we just sat down, like we just got a pizza. We
Uh-huh.
sat down. I was like, yeah, hey, want to throw out a game? You're like, yeah. And then like you just without saying anything, put on World War II colorized. And I was just like, oh,
World War II in HD, baby. Let's go. Yeah, dude, that's my
Adolf
shit.
Hitler caught in 4K.
Dude, basically, man. Yeah, that's been my jam for a long time. Yeah, me and my buddy Dylan, we used to just binge fucking World War II in color at like 3 a.m. It was great, you know? Just eating some cold pizza from like 3 to 4 hours ago at least. No, probably let's see if it's 3 a.m. then wait for it. So it's like a 6 hour long it's salmonella pizza at this point. And we're just eating this cold salmonella pizza as we watch World War II
Dude,
in color.
Salmonella Pizza would be such a good band name. I'm not gonna lie.
It fucking slaps for a metalcore band.
But dude,
No,
s-
but
I
yeah,
was
sorry.
I was just gonna say, speaking of World War II, the Detroit Lions are making making one of the greatest comebacks of all time. They might,
They are. This team is on a roll.
dude. 4 of their last 5,
Mm.
they got. So Robert, in
Mhm.
this year's draft, they have at least not one, not two, not
Mm.
three, but
Mm.
4 players who look like they could be starter quality at the very least to very good players. A guy named James Houston, who the Lions drafted in the 6th round this year. They drafted him from Jackson State. If that sounds familiar, that's because he came from prime time
Prime
Deion Sanders,
time.
and I believe he was the first player to ever be drafted out of an HBCU. And so
Wow.
and so he came out, and I believe he was dealing with injury stuff, and he came out and in his first 3 games got 2 sacks, which tied the Lions rookie record for most sacks in a 2 game span, tying Aiden Hutchinson, who has also been pretty good.
Yeah.
So and then not only that, another guy on the line, Josh Pascal, another pass rusher we got in the and
Yeah.
like the crazy thing is like you look at our schedule the next 2 weeks, or like this Sunday
You got the
at home
Vikings.
against Minnesota. And as good as Minnesota is,
Skull. 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 I'm sorry, you know that's my fucking bandwagon team, so I don't know what to tell you.
It's funny. It's funny. It's weird. It's like something flipped a switch. The moment that we just shit on Minnesota on
Shit
this
down their throat.
podcast,
Uh-huh.
ever since you've just been in love. Like you
Well,
took
because
a
then I
like you took a trip. You bought Minnesota Lynx and Timberwolves
yeah, gear.
merchandise.
I got a jersey, I got gear. Well, yeah, no, the funny thing is that we had that vacation planned for a while, and then yeah, like
I know.
the week before, it's funny because yeah, we like shit down their throats,
And
and
then I was
then
like, "Aren't you going to Minnesota?"
which was the best comment of that whole podcast. And it was like, "Oh yeah, I am." And no, honestly, like we expected to go there and like have a good time and like okay, whatever, that was fun. But like yeah, we literally went there and just fucking fell in love. And so now yeah, I'm just this fucking bandwagon Minnesota fan for like every sport now. It is what it is. I mean, with
He's like
these
scrolling.
idiots out of the fucking picture in the Buccaneers are like
He's just
hot
on
potatoing.
he's just on Zillow refreshing homes in Minnesota at all times now.
Well, I did look at some places in a place called Red Wing, Minnesota. There is an actual town called Red
Go
Wing,
yourself. Anyway.
which it's hilarious. It's that's where the Red Wings shoes were invented or whatever. That's like their
Hmm.
main like place, whatever. But I was like, wouldn't it be kind of funny? The Red Wings fan moves to Red Wing, Minnesota. Pretty great, but it's kind of like Holland. It's kind of like that similar
Okay,
vibe of
yeah.
like a town. Yeah, and it's not super far from like Minneapolis, St. Paul, stuff like that. So, but yeah. Anyways, yeah, no, I'm totally on board with Minnesota and their funny ass teams. So
Well, I'm proud of you for doxing your potential future home. No, I'm totally, totally
yep.
kidding. But dude, but like in all seriousness, though, if you look like the next 2 weeks,
All
they're
right, in all
playing,
seriousness, skull, skull, skull.
but they're at home. They're at home this week against Minnesota, who
That's
they
right.
almost beat when they played on the road this earlier this season. And let's be honest, as good as the
They are
Vikings.
betting favorites over the Vikings this week. I don't know if you're aware of this.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, I was just gonna say, like, as good as Minnesota is, like they're 10-2 for a reason, right? They
Sure,
also might be the least threatening 10-2 team like I've seen in a while. Like just from the sense
sure.
that like they are like if you look at their schedule and you look at like some of their wins, like like they're like a lot of like either close shootouts, like a lot of one score games. So like if you look at their record, like they could just as easily as they are 10-2, they could be like they could be like 6 and a lot like 6-5. Like
Whatever. Yeah,
the math
easily.
broke my brain there.
It'd
Six and
be like
six.
that.
Holy god dang. I was like,
No, honestly though, because Jesus Christ, my man can't figure out divisions of 12.
I was
But
like,
no,
how do I
it's
get to 12 from 6? It's 6 plus 6.
well, anyways, the
Oh my lord.
I won't
Anywho.
say what hometown you're from, but let's just be real with ourselves. But the the thing of it is though, like, no, you're totally spot on. Like most of their games have been these like game of the year candidates where they came back from, being way down or needed a late drive and that kind of stuff. And that's been really fun. Like them winning off of like Hail Marys and stuff, that's been very fun. But it's also not overly sustainable. I mean, maybe it is. I mean, they could prove us wrong and they could go win the Super Bowl. Who the fuck knows?
Well,
But
like
they're very much a team that's like,
every team needs an inherent amount of luck, but at the same time, when push comes to shove, especially in the playoffs, you need a team that can go out there and make their own luck at a certain point. And I don't know if they can
yes.
do that with Kirk Cousins, like when the pressure's on, you know?
Yeah, it's tough to say. Like once you get into the playoffs, things change completely.
But like,
No, I mean, we were just saying, like, I think last week or the week before that this Lions team is not out of it.
well,
Like
dude,
they're very much in it and they continue to become more and more and more in it.
and listen to their schedule here on out
Mm,
and tell me where the obvious loss is.
sure,
At home against the Vikings,
sure.
at the Jets, at the Panthers,
That'll be tough. Oh, that wasn't yeah.
at home versus the Bears. Like, yeah, like at the Jets, like that'll be tough. But like,
Yeah, I think the
but like,
Vikings so far is the toughest one, and the Jets have battled pretty hard. They've been pretty decent, but that one can kind of go either way. Their field can sometimes be wonky as hell.
Also, do you trust Mike White on a week to week
No,
basis?
I don't trust him at all. I think that the Jets are such a lost and stupid program. Like, I understand that, like,
I mean, they're 7-5. They're not bad, but like at the
no,
same
but
time,
here's the problem that I have with them, right? Is
he
you
lost to
draft
Minnesota last week. Funny enough.
they did. I watched that game. It was a good game. Minnesota almost threw it away.
Mike
Anyways,
White threw 57 passes. No wonder they lost.
yeah. So the thing that I have with the Jets, if we can just dive into them for a hot second here.
Your quick soapbox.
Yeah, the problem I have with the Jets is, so you draft a quarterback and then you decide you don't like him and you want to draft another one. So you get rid of said quarterback and you've drafted the new quarterback who's your guy. Said quarterback that you drafted has had some ups and downs and certainly had a very ugly game where he didn't really take a lot of responsibility in the eyes of most people. Mostly it seems the media, maybe some teammates, hard to say. So you bench him for some random fuck, and that's your
Well,
plan.
in fairness, I get it. I get it. But
Like, that's your plan. Draft quarterback, get rid of him, draft other quarterback as your new savior, and then kind of just bench him immediately. Like, what the
I agree.
fuck is this?
I agree with you.
Like,
However,
figure it out.
but here's the problem. First of all, Mike. So first of all, Joe Flacco started 3 games for the Jets this season,
Oh, I forgot they have Joe Flacco. God damn it.
and
That's even worse.
Zach Wilson started 7. Okay,
Mhm.
Joe Flacco in his 3 starts threw 5 touchdown passes, 3 interceptions.
Okay.
Zach Wilson threw 4 touchdowns and 5 interceptions in his 7 starts.
Not great.
His completion percentage was 55%. The defense, like a lot of people like on the defense were reportedly like, getting really frustrated. And it was a
Mm.
game where I believe the Jets were I believe they were shut out. And if not shut out, they were damn near
I
shut
believe
out.
they were.
It was I believe it was the game. Yeah, it was when they played at New England and they
Yes.
lost 10-3, and
Yes.
Zach Wilson went 9 for 22 with 77 yards.
That was a
And
really ugly game on both sides, to be honest.
like the thing that like and so he was asked flat out, do you take any responsibility, or like do
Yeah,
you
yeah.
think the offense is to blame for the loss? And he was like, no.
Yeah.
Just flat out no. And so like like I'm pretty sure the idea, because like it like at that point it sounds like from the reporting, like it wasn't that the fact like it didn't just bother his teammates,
Mm.
like they were at the point where they were ready to fight this kid, like they were
I
already.
see. So they were already done with him.
Well, and remember, there was a situation. I like, do you remember there was a situation last year where a guy got cut from the Jets because it was either in like off-season like mini camp or like in training camp, he punched Zach Wilson in the face. Do you remember that? Like Zach
I very much do not remember this. I remember that happening a long time ago to Geno Smith. Wasn't it Geno who got
I,
fucking cold cocked in the
oh, it
nose?
might have been okay.
Because that
Yeah.
was like 10 years ago at least when Geno got fucking rocked. Remember when they like broke his nose or some shit? That was like a
Yeah.
long ass time ago, and that shit was wild.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, yeah, because I was gonna say there's no fucking way this happened
I'm gonna
twice,
I'm gonna
because if that happened,
I'm gonna level with you, Robert. I've seen so many Jets quarterback debacles. Sometimes you get them mixed up. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, for sure. I mean, in fairness, Geno is both of them in some ways because he
Yeah.
also is Mr. Butt Fumble.
Well, and the other thing too is that they have said, like, like, and they were very clear, like this isn't the end of his career. Like this is like
Right.
their intention is to recalibrate and to and to give him a second chance at some point. However, when you are pushing for a when you are pushing for a playoff run and you
Sure.
have those types of dynamics and you're playing like shit,
Mm-hmm.
not just the fact that you have real like genuine character flaws, but the fact
Yeah.
that like you are the worst, like you make Russell Wilson look like Joe Montana. Like that,
Somewhere in that range. But yeah, no,
I
I know what you mean.
I think, like, listen, like, I think, listen, is it a good situation? No. However, I think they handled it as well as they could have. And listen, I just think at the end of the day, if you want my honest opinion, I just think they missed. I think they missed on the quarterback. I think if you look at
Yeah.
I think there was clearly way better quarterbacks drafted after him that they're going to be kicking themselves for a long, long
I
time
mean,
not
even
picking.
Mac Jones.
Yeah.
I feel like Mac Jones was kind of the obvious, like, he just seemed like the cool customer guy to pick for your boring run of the mill guy who's going to get it done, kind of almost Kirk Cousins like, right? And everyone just decided to just miss on him. And not to say that Mac Jones is going to go on to be like the greatest of all time or any of that kind of shit. But I just think he's like a stable quarterback who's fairly good, you know. Um, it,
Well,
it
I mean, in the 2021 draft, there was, I mean, not only that, but
wasn't
there
Mac
was,
in that draft, or am I completely out of whack here?
I believe Mac was in that, but wasn't that also the okay, that was the Trevor Lawrence draft as well. I was getting it
Right, and he
confused.
went first overall to the Jags,
Yep,
um,
they could have gotten Justin Fields.
which also would have been better.
Yeah.
Literally almost anybody. I Here's the thing. I feel like there's these quarterbacks that you just know immediately is not the guy. And I just feel like Zach Wilson was a guy that I looked at and I just immediately, without even having to, I'm like, oh, that he's not it.
Mhm.
And honestly, he didn't seem like he was any different than the quarterback they literally already had that they had already drafted. It felt like they were just drafting the same quarterback like a second time for some reason. And that's almost exactly what he's been. And so I'm
Yeah.
just kind of like, what the fuck is going on with the Jets? Like, do you guys have no scouting? Like, what? So I don't know. Anyways, that was my soapbox for the Jets because
Well,
it's just this team that they are good-ish, but like it's very frustrating to watch a team just waste draft picks like that. Although who am I to say wasting draft picks as a team right here actually wasted an entire draft's worth
yeah.
of picks.
So I
Um,
actually never finished my point about the Lions with like their draftings, like with Brad
Go
Holmes. I
ahead,
want to bring that back up. So James Houston,
please.
like there's Aiden Hutchinson, Josh Pascal, who's another guy that they got in the second round from Memphis, who was actually like, even though they got Aiden Hutchinson, who was like the top rated player in the draft, Josh Pascal from Pro Football Focus was the top rated pass rusher coming into this draft. He was just also dealing with some injury stuff coming into the year, but then you also get Jamison Williams, who just played his first game. So now you could potentially have 5 starters, like throwing in Malcolm Rodriguez, who's been awesome for this team as well. Like like
Rodrigo.
Brad Holmes has had 2 phenomenal drafts, like, when you look at the amount of talent that we've gotten, and
Sure.
then you also throw in Amon-Ra St. Brown, who legitimately is leading is leading the NFC in
Yeah.
receiving yards, including over Justin Jefferson, who went out saying he wanted to be the best in the NFL this year at the wide receiver position.
And he's
Amon-Ra
been
St.
close.
Brown is, even if Amon-Ra's not the most explosive wide receiver, I think, I think if you're looking at best wide out in the NFL, I think, like, I think my top are, it's a conversation with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. Like, I would say, like, it's like somewhere in like that group, but like,
Sure, sure, sure.
Amon-Ra St. Brown, I would say is top
Devontae
5.
Adams,
Yeah,
my
Devontae
boy.
Adams, of course, of course. Yeah, he's incredible. Of course he's
Sure.
in there. I just
Unfortunately, Mike Evans has not had the season that I would like, or Godwin, and we'll get into the Buccaneers and their woes, but yeah.
yeah, we'll get to them in a little bit, but
But no, you're totally right. Like the thing that's crazy, right, is we went into this season and we spoke about actually sometime this summer on one of our episodes about this team was, I believe, the most expensive offense going into the season, something like that. Like which we thought was just insane. I'm like, first of all, who the fuck do they even have an offense? It's like not even any like veteran play. Like who the fuck are they paying on this offense? So it was confusing in that regard. And I think a lot of us kind of expected this offense to be very mediocre, like very mediocre. And honestly, the fact that they've been every bit of productive is what you would hope the most expensive offense in the NFL would be. They've kind of sort of proved themselves in a
yeah,
way to where you're just kind of like, okay, the wins were not there for a little while. Um, but you can kind of see it now. Like you can
yeah.
kind of see it.
Well,
Yeah,
and the crazy thing, I feel like a lot of times you look at quarterbacks and you write a guy off and say he's flat out garbage, but like,
I didn't.
like with Jared Goff, listen, I I will flat out say I had my serious doubts, and I still have my reservations on whether or not he should be the long-term quarterback because
Yes,
down this stretch, in my opinion, is the true test of if Goff is our guy or not.
I
Because
agree.
if he can go down and lead us to a playoff spot, I feel like I could actually see Jared Goff being the quarterback going forward for at least the next couple years.
Sure.
But if Jared Goff goes out there and goes and does Jared Goff things, then we very clearly should move in a different direction. The beautiful thing for the Lions
Mm.
is that no matter what,
The
they're
Rams suck ass.
dude, as if we couldn't as Lions fans have
Uh-huh.
been wrapped more beautiful Christmas present
Uh-huh.
than to receive the news that not only did the Rams sign Baker Mayfield,
So good. I
but
love
with
it.
the intention of starting him right away.
It's beautiful.
It's
I
like,
mean,
man,
because they kind of have to, because they
well,
had to like Mr. Irrelevant or some shit. Or no, was that the 49ers?
that's the
That might have been the Rams.
49ers.
It
That's
doesn't
they have
matter.
Brock
They
Purdy.
oh jeez.
Yeah, Brock
But
Purdy
y-
starting at quarterback.
fucking yikes. But no, because Stafford's out for season now, isn't he?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
he has apparently a spinal contusion injury.
Ooh, okay. Do not love
So
that. Hopefully,
there are some whimpers, there's like a there's a real could he be like done?
that might be it.
Yeah,
That might be
so
it.
I if it is, it'd be a damn shame, but also at the same time that 2021 run was magical.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, prayers out for Matthew Stafford. Hope all is well with
yeah,
him.
of
Yeah.
course. But, in all seriousness, I actually really like the move from the Rams perspective in the sense that it's literally a no risk. Like it's only going to cost them $1 million. And
It's true.
and at the very least, like you're only spending $1 million on a guy who was picked number one overall at the time for a reason.
I mean,
Granted,
what the fuck else are you gonna do? I
well,
mean,
yeah.
you're chalked. Like, you
Well,
have nothing.
and here's the beautiful thing. We get the Rams first round pick.
We sure
So
do.
whether the Lions make the playoffs or not, we're gonna still be among the top of the draft board, and we get our picking at the premium guys. If you would have told me going into
Yeah,
this season that I would be caring more about the Rams pick than I
sure.
would be caring about the Lions pick, especially when a few weeks ago we were at the number one pick slot in freaking October,
True.
man.
Dude,
This
and it's crazy because this would have been such a traditional Lions thing to do, right? Where you're not good, but you suddenly become good, and then you move your draft pick to a place where you get someone who's okay, right? Like, that's a very like Lions thing to do. But the good news is that they don't have to like tank or take their foot off the gas or anything like that, because it doesn't matter, because the Rams suck ass and the Rams aren't doing shit. So like the
yeah,
thing is like they're gonna get a top pick.
wasn't Aaron Donald out for the year? Like I believe
I think
Cooper
he's had
Kupp's injured.
something going on. Yeah, Cooper Kupp's been out for
Yeah, yeah,
season.
Cooper Kupp's out, Matthew Stafford's out, I believe
Yeah,
Aaron Donald's out, I believe
yeah,
Sean
maybe.
McVay mentally's out.
Yeah,
Like,
the team's very much crumbling, which is a little bit hilarious to me because they bought themselves a championship and they are paying heavily. Like
well,
the
yeah,
Buccaneers also, like, they didn't really buy themselves a championship so much as the Buccaneers bought one guy who convinced all of his friends to come in for cheap deals and then got themselves a championship. And now it's not going super well, but they don't really have a whole lot on the hook. So because they didn't really give up anything.
uh-huh.
Which kind of leads us so yeah, anyways, sorry, we to finish the point with the Lions. Lions are very much still in this.
Yeah,
Good for the Lions,
yes,
very much.
excited to see where it leads,
The
at the end.
first exciting season in a very long time.
Well, and like listen, like if you remember at the beginning of the year, like a lot of people were predicting like super high like win numbers, and I was like, I don't know, like I think we're getting a little too far ahead of ourselves.
Yeah,
I at the beginning of the season, I said if we get to 5-6 wins, look competitive, and
sure.
we have a chance to be in it at the end, I'll take that.
And that's
We're
about where
already
they're at.
Yeah, we're already at 5 wins. And again, to end their season, to say again, their schedule, their final 5 weeks versus Minnesota, at the Jets, at Carolina,
Hmm.
versus the Bears, at Green Bay. All 5 games. Green
Very
Bay, dude.
winnable. Very winnable.
Yeah, extremely winnable. Green
Yeah,
Bay.
honestly, the Vikings, maybe the Bears, because they're a weird team that's playing hot potato whether they want to be good or not. The
Well,
Jets can
Justin
be
Fields is
decent.
injured now.
Oh, he is? Oh, then yeah, it's chalked. Yeah, no, the the Lions, like,
Like I
they have a
believe I
very
believe
nice,
he was
easy
injured at one
schedule.
point, but also they're 3-10 at this point too. Like they're
Yeah,
like
that's a little bit chalk.
they've shown some flashes, but they are old. They have lost their last 6.
Yikes.
They have
Well,
not they have not won
and Green Bay
since
has been ass.
they have not won since Monday Night Football at New England.
Oh.
So,
This is, and we said this, I think, last week, but this has been one of the strangest seasons of the NFL. Like, just the
yeah,
strangest. It seems like there's no good teams. Like, there's
especially the
the
NFC.
Eagles. Yeah,
Especially like and it's weird. It feels like there's 3 good teams in the NFC and then
basically.
everyone else.
It's just ass. Like, every team is like sub 500, and then there's just like, there's the Eagles who are good, but sometimes there's question marks about them. The Bills seem to be on the slide, and the Vikings seem to be phony baloney sometimes. It's very hard to tell what the fuck's going on this
I
season. Like,
mean,
whoever wins the Super Bowl it's all up in the air.
I would say the Buccaneers have had a nightmare season from their standpoint,
Nightmare.
and they are comfortably going to win the NFC South. And
Yes.
like the 49ers, they're going to have Brock Purdy in there, but they're still in a good position to win, the NFC West, because even though the Seattle Seahawks are good, they're also kind of like the Jets, of where you never really know what
Yeah,
you can
they're
get with
very
them,
Jetsy,
you know.
very Jetsy.
Yeah, and then you look at the NFC East. The Jets have been free. I mean, the Giants have been free falling over the
Yeah,
last couple of weeks. They have not. I'll tell you, man. The Lions. When I watched them play the Lions, they did not look very good. Their last 3 games,
true.
loss, tie. So,
Yeah, no, it's crazy. Like, honestly, the Lions, the path is right there. They just need to continue to win, and it doesn't
mhm.
really feel like they have a lot of resistance ahead of them. And this could be one of the craziest, wildest miracle seasons we've ever seen out of a team.
You know who I honestly could see having a legitimate shot and feels like a team that's really starting to fire at all cylinders right now and could potentially be making a run.
Could it please be the Oakland Raiders or the Vegas Raiders?
I think it's Cincinnati, dude.
Yeah, it's probably Cincinnati.
They're like first of all, they just got Jamar Chase back from
Yes.
injury. So the fact that he's fresh and back and ready to go. Joe Burrow has somehow taken another leap. Like we're gonna talk about Joe Burrow as a top 10 quarterback of all time one day. I firmly believe that.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying, man. Like, I kind of called him the next Tom Brady. Like, I really like his game. I really, really, really like him and
Dude,
his
he's
leadership.
got that cool Joe Montana feel to him, man. Like
He
just
really does. He
I
really does.
By the way, Colin Cowherd on The Volume did an interview with Joe Montana and Joe Burrow together. Really fun listen. So go listen to that. After this, of course, because this is a lot better. Screw Colin Cowherd. He has plenty of money. We don't. Anyway,
That is correct. We have no fucking money.
we have
Um,
no the money. But in all seriousness, like really like and then the Bills, they look great. They looked like the most solid locked, like lock in Super Bowl contender until we find out that Von Miller, had a
that's a
torn ACL.
huge blow.
Yep.
Huge blow.
Yeah, because that was really what made that team, like the fact that they could rush 3 or 4 and get to the
Yeah, their
quarterback.
defense is in real trouble with that.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
that their defense was bad without Vaughn, but at the same time, like inherently, it's
Yeah.
just not nearly as much of a threat.
Yeah, for sure. Um, moving briefly onto the team that is playing tonight as of recording. My beloved Las Vegas Raiders here. They are going to be playing under the lights tonight, and I
3 in a
cannot wait.
row.
They have won 3 in a row, and I've been very happy about that. And, the season to me is still pretty much just completely fucked. Like,
Isn't it
eh.
crazy what happens when you get Devontae Adams the ball?
Yeah, it's crazy, right? Yeah, I feel like this. I think the season is pretty much over anyways, but when it comes to the Raiders, my hope is that we have a lot of success on the second half of the season that puts it all together, that shows that this coach does know what he's doing on some level. They finally figure out exactly what we need. We fill in some of those gaps next year and we go out and do this because like there's just so much new in this system, right? Like
Yeah.
we made the playoffs last season, but that was with a different coach, an interim coach. That was with totally different players and things like that. Like there was a lot of different things that have changed, right? So like that's going to be huge. Honestly though, one of the things that scares me to death about future seasons is Josh Jacobs
Yeah.
because he's a free agent.
Yeah.
The
Well,
Raiders don't have a lot of money left. So my thing is either A, they're going to spend all of their money on him, and that's not a good plan,
well,
or B, they're going to let him walk, and that's not great either.
well, here's the other thing too. Even though like they're on this little bit of a run, and I do think to your point, like this is like a great opportunity for Josh McDaniels to like, kind of like prove himself a little bit more as a head coach. Like I think, like with him, it wasn't like a Nathaniel Hackett situation
Mm.
where you're watching where you're watching and it's like, oh my God, he can't even run his offense. Like he can't even get his own side. Like with the Raiders, they've had points where they've looked explosive offensively, and like especially over the last couple of weeks as they've been like chaining it together a little more. Like to your point, like guys like Josh Jacobs, finding ways to get
He's
Devontae
unbelievable,
Adams.
the number 1 running back in the league.
Yeah, finding ways to get Devontae Adams the ball more and more, and like it's clear that they're finding their rhythm a little bit more. But I listen, I think a lot of their issues stemmed from like a mixture of roster construction. Like I think it's pretty clear their offensive line is terrible.
Oh, it's
Um,
horrible.
yeah, I think it's pretty obvious that like they're gonna have like a couple decisions to make, not just Josh Jacobs. But
Yep.
I think I heard that like it would be a really, really, really manageable cap hit if they decided to move on from Derek Carr this offseason. And I've heard some theories that they could potentially be looking to that they could potentially move on and try to get their own quarterback because this isn't because remember this GM didn't technically draft Derek
Derek
Carr.
Carr, yeah, he was kind of a while ago now at this
Yeah.
point.
So they're in an awkward position where like they're kind of like where the Lions were a couple years ago, where like they like were or like at least like in
No,
26
that's pretty yeah.
like they're like the Lions in 2016, where to me it's like they have enough where they're like interesting and kind of compete and put some points together. But at
Sure.
the same time, it's like, all right, well, where are we going? Like what are we doing? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
no, it is tough, right? Because, like, the thing with Derek Carr is he's a very capable quarterback. I think a
But
lot of
here's a
people
guy.
here's a guy that I think is extremely capable. I think the locker room loves him.
Mhm.
He obviously has a great connection with Devontae Adams as they went to Fresno together. Uh, and
Greatest crier in the history of press conferences.
it sucks to me a little bit that that's like such a meme because like you can see how genuine he really does feel. And to
Yeah.
me, I like that in some ways. I really like to see the heart on
Listen,
your sleeve kind
in
of
all
thing.
seriousness, I love seeing a man like passionate and clearly
Yeah.
seeing the frustration because, like the other thing is like leading
And
into
he
the other
grew
thing.
up a Raiders fan his entire life. Like this is his shit, dude.
But like it's the mixture of the roster construction, but also I think the culture that Josh McDaniels inherited because
Yeah.
I pretty sure with with everything that was happening with the John Gruden era and everything that's happened over the last few years, it's been an absolute circus. And even though they made the playoffs last year, there still hasn't exactly been a culture of high character, high caliber guys. You know what I mean? So like I just think, like it's pretty clear with him having to get to that point of frustration how many different guys in that locker room were having commitment issues and
Yeah.
we're struggling, you know what I mean? And so like
Oh, 100%.
so I think when you look at a lot of the issues that were happening to begin this year, like I can't entirely blame Josh McDaniels, and to his credit, the fact that like not only that like he stuck it in there, but like the fact that they've been able to like find some success. Apparently, all you need to do is face Russell Wilson and the Broncos one week, and then you can turn it right around.
It's been really, really fun for me as a fan of two shitty teams, a longtime fan of two shitty teams, because there's a few teams that I have hated for really a long time. One of those teams is the Denver Broncos, because they were good for quite a while there, and they would often beat the Raiders, and it really pissed me off. So beating them pretty badly twice is pretty awesome. What is also awesome is the team that I hate more than any other franchise in professional sports is the New Orleans Saints. I fucking hate this team.
It's amazing that after, you know,
I was disappointed that Drew Brees' incident was fake. No, but
well,
but
I
like
don't even want to get into that. I don't even want to give that
that was
stupid.
unfucking believable. But
Yeah.
anyways, no,
Yeah.
the fact that the Buccaneers for the first time in I think it was something like 15 years or so. Like it's been a long time, Sean, since the Buccaneers have swept the New Orleans Saints. I need you to understand that I don't think I was like of age enough to where I was paying attention to football to see them do this. So even though the team has been ass, the one thing I will say is that Tom Brady has given me a championship that I was actually able to watch and witness. I wasn't like a child.
Mhm.
So I appreciate that. And he won us our division last year, which is the first time that I've seen that. We were on top of the NFC South. And this year, we're not only going to do that again, but we swept the Saints. And these are all things that I have wanted to see literally forever. So finally seeing my football team. I know I'm wearing the Raiders, but my football team has finally done the things that I have wanted them to do, has been enough for me. And I will say, we are 6-6 now. It's not impossible. You
The
never
the
know.
the
Tom Brady.
definition of a Midorella, you know what I mean?
Listen, I'm in the thing is this. My man got divorced, okay? The first few weeks, things were rough. He was in rocky territory. He was dealing with his wife, find out that he's getting cucked by some guy who the fuck knows. But guess what? They settled the divorce. He found himself an upgrade. And so all I'm saying
Did you
is
see
that
that photo with AB and Giselle today, by the way?
I did see that, and I've been seeing a lot of reports that that's actually like some other
Yeah, there
model
was
that
no
like
way
looks
that's
like her. So,
Giselle.
yeah, there's literally no shot.
Yeah.
But still insane that that man would post something like that. Also, wasn't he just in like a standoff with the police? So like, what the fuck is going on? But
Yeah. Yeah.
like,
All
what is actually happening?
but like also with the Saints though, it's amazing after having Sean Payton for all these years, which, even though you probably hate the guy,
Fucking hate his guts, and also because of Bounty Gate.
but you can't deny he's a damn good football coach and a great
Very
offensive
good
mind.
coach. Fuck him and everything he represents.
But having said that, like speaking unbiased, the fact that they went from having one of the greatest coaches in the NFL, a guy that I'm pretty sure the Chargers have been like trying to like low key recruit him all year,
Oh yeah.
even though they have Bruce Staley like on the staff, they're like, oh yeah, great, keep going out
I
there.
think anyone with a brain stem is trying to get him as their coach. Like, as much as I hate him because of Bounty Gate, which is a lot of why I fucking hate the Saints,
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. The Buccaneers coaching staff is so fucking awful. I hate them so much that at this point, I would fucking take him as our coach because
Well,
Byron
he's a top
Leftwich
3
is
coach in the NFL every year.
horrendous, and so is Todd Bowles
He's a top 3 coach in the NFL every year. Like
every
lock.
single year.
But they go from that to Dennis Allen, who
Yes.
has been not that.
He's a
Um,
guy. He's a
yeah,
warm body on the sideline.
and from the sounds of it, could be Nathaniel Hackett levels of bad.
Oh, yeah.
And so like you talk about like and by the way, speaking of Nathaniel Hackett and the Broncos, like we I know we talk and make fun of like Russell Wilson a little bit each and every week, and we make like the Broncos country let's ride jokes and everything.
Of
But
course.
like not to just keep piling on, but
Uh-huh.
Robert, they went to Baltimore, had the fortune of Lamar Jackson getting
Mm,
injured on the first drive,
sure did.
and then Russell Wilson managed to get outdueled by Tyler Huntley, and
It's incredible, isn't it?
the Ravens won on a touchdown on their final drive, and Russell Wilson couldn't get a touchdown. I believe, yeah, Russell Wilson has less touchdowns this season than Carson Wentz. And Carson Wentz hasn't played since October.
I got to be honest with you. It's hilarious to me because it's fuck the Broncos. But here's the thing that is crazy to me. Like, I really, really loved Russell Wilson for a while there. Like, I really did. Like, when he was a Seahawk and when he won the Super Bowl and all that. I had and I think most people had no indication that he was this insufferable douche. I think some people, like, kind of thought he was a bit of a douche, but not quite to the level that he is, right? And, like, he obviously struggled a little bit there towards the end with Seattle, but, like, nobody could have ever oh, no. Oh, no, 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 no. By the way, just seeing this photo reminds me that the Broncos need new uniforms because those fucking suck. Anyway,
Also, like, you know what makes it worse that everyone's talking about how much they hate him and how much of a D-bag he is? The
uh
fact that he's going out there laying an egg each and every week with the Walter Payton Man of the Year
it's
award
so good
right on his
with the
chest.
captaincy, and he's being paid more than everybody on the fucking team.
Like he's probably getting paid as much, if not more, than the rest of the team's salary collectively.
Oh, it's bad.
And you know for a fact that like they all like that he came in doing all this weird, like at first they're like, man, we got a beast, let's go. And then they're like, all right, you're weird, but like you're good at football. Now it's like, all right, you weird and you suck. Like you suck as a person and as a quarterback.
Well, it's crazy, right? Like, I honestly, it has been shocking for me because, like, I never could have predicted that this is how things would go
I
for
think it's
Russell
the
Wilson.
coaching, if you want my opinion. I
I
think
th-
it's a lot of the coaching, but
I definitely think that is a decent amount of it, but I will say this. I think in a lot of ways it has exposed Russell Wilson for, in some ways, being a bit of a what would you say?
system
A
quarterback.
system quarterback. And the thing is like Tom Brady was accused of that for a very long time, and most quarterbacks are, who are very successful in one organization. In fact, I saw some idiot say some dumb shit about Patrick Mahomes being a system QB. I think that's laughable. But the fact remains is that you see great quarterbacks have a lot
Patrick
of success.
Mahomes is the system, by the way.
Exactly. And as much as I hate the Chiefs as a Raiders fan, I will say Patrick Mahomes I love. I think he gets a lot of hate. I think a lot of people shit on him. I think
He
his family's annoying, but
Listen,
he is
his brother
incredible.
might be a D-bag, and his wife might
Lunatic.
yeah,
Lunatic.
his wife might be like one of those like essential oil chicks, but like at the same time, Patrick Mahomes is like the great like Tom
I
Brady's the great
really like him.
Tom Brady's the GOAT, but Patrick Mahomes is objectively the most talented person to ever play the quarterback position.
I really, really, really like him. Although it was very funny to destroy him in Tampa in the Super Bowl and watch Tom Brady just basically dance on his grave.
I
That was
mean,
fun.
honestly though,
But
that defensive line, man, like that was the most dominant performance I've ever seen from a line in a game. But anyway,
Go
like,
Bucks, baby. No,
yeah,
but it is crazy. Like, the Russell Wilson thing has been shocking to me. It really has. And I think for most people, because a lot of people looked at this division and thought that this division was going to be electric, right? Like, Justin Herbert's an incredible quarterback. Russell
mhm.
Wilson, incredible quarterback. Derek Carr, very talented quarterback with one of the best wide receivers in the entire league. Everyone assumed, and of course, the Chiefs being the Chiefs. So everyone just assumed that this was going to be electric. And then ultimately, there's basically just the Chiefs, which is
Yeah.
strange. It's very strange what has happened.
Well, I mean,
Um,
I think first of all with the Chiefs, I think a lot of people like with the Tyreek Hill thing, I think a lot of people like, overvalued. Like I think that first of all, that trade worked out beautifully for both sides, in my
it
opinion,
really did. It
because
really did.
Tyreek Hill showing how important he was, but also Patrick Mahomes showing that he was also great. Both can be true. And I think, and then like, I think yeah, like a lot of people were expecting the Broncos to go and do that. And even if you look at his numbers, like outside of like the touchdown to like, like obviously like 8 touchdowns, like what in the hell? Like you look at like 2,500 yards, like, like 7 yards and like 7 yards a pass, like, 60% of his passes. Like it's not like terrible, but like
It's
this
not
team,
good,
like
Sean.
the fact that, like, this team was, like, one of the worst teams in the NFL in the red zone before, before Nathaniel Hackett and Russell Wilson, and then they joined and they got worse.
And speaking of which, by the way, I would like to bring something up that I've been very sick of, and I am ready to get on my fucking soapbox about this shit. I have been hearing about this fucking Broncos team for what feels like forever, about how great they are, how close they are, how good their defense is, and all this shit, okay? And I've about fucking had it. Sean, in since 2017, they haven't had a winning record.
Yeah.
They were 5-11, 6-10, 7-9, 5-11, 7-10, and they're currently 3-9. So tell me how this Broncos team that everyone loves to suck the dick of is worth anything,
Well,
because they're just not.
I
And
think
I'm very tired of hearing about them.
I think there was this misconception from a lot of people after the Broncos won their Super Bowl against the Panthers, because when people
With Peyton
saw
Manning, by the way.
they won with Peyton Manning, but, like, they won despite Peyton Manning with, like how decrepit he was at that time, like his neck and shoulder and everything. Like, he couldn't throw more than 10 yards down the field. He couldn't.
Okay, that's very true, but it's still Peyton.
You're right. You're right. But they also you forget at that season, they were going back and forth between him and Brock Osweiler.
You're not wrong. I forgot about that.
So
Oh,
so, like but, like, anyway, I
sorry.
think
That's
because of the
some good
fact that they
shit.
didn't win because of the quarterback, that when they didn't have a stable quarterback, they thought that, like, that great defense could go out and continue to do what it does. And even though for a lot of those years, they still had those players on that end and they still had talent, like, in the skill positions, they just never had a quarterback. They've just never had a great coach either. Like, they just can't put it all together. And, like, I just think at the end of the day, like, it's the classic telltale of, you can literally do anything you want. You can build as awesome of a roster as you please. But as we see with the Broncos, and I think as we saw with Zach Wilson and the Jets too, it doesn't mean a damn thing if you don't know who's your quarterback.
It's true. Sean, to transition slightly, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will be our final thing about football here. Now, my Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they are 6-6. They are very much in charge of the NFC South. Tom Brady, which is just a fucking landfill.
To see
A
how,
land-
like, how angry Tom Brady looks, like, on, like, each and every week, like,
uh,
he looks like he has the energy of Aaron Rodgers out there. He's
yeah.
like, "Ah," like, yelling at his offensive
Yeah,
lineman.
he's losing it. He yelled at our punter, I think, or some shit, like just
Yeah, and
losing
it's
his
like
mind.
and the fact that it's like and even with that, you can say they're comfortably in first place in the NFC South.
Literally at 500.
Like
Literally
barring
6 and
a
6.
Desmond Ritter, like Cinderella run for the Falcons to end the
Ugh,
season,
Falcons. Yeah.
they are
And
not that like they are not going to be missing the playoffs. That's just not happening.
which is insane. And I got to be honest, like I hate the coaches. I think that this team it is almost exclusively their fault with how bad this team is. I think that it is mostly our head coach slash offensive coordinator, maybe even the offensive coordinator more than anything. But I will say this as well, like the offensive line is obviously not giving them any favors. But and also the regression a little bit of our running back game. I think that Fournette has looked a little bit better here and there, but that's been a whole thing. But
I
this
have
team,
I have a theory.
okay,
I feel like this team, the trajectory is very reminiscent to what the Lakers had over the last few years. If you look at, from when the Buccaneers won their
Okay.
title,
Sure.
a lot of veterans and guys who took pay cuts to come play with the superstar and the perceived greatest of all time in their sport, or in
In
the
the bubble
NBA's
season.
or in the NBA's case, the second greatest of all time. But and
This
then
guy gets it.
and they go out, they do what they do. They, in a COVID season, they win they go and defy the odds, win a title. The
Mhm.
next year, people think they can go out and contend to do it again. They're like not as good as the year before. You still think they can make a run, but then they get to the playoffs and it's like, not really. They lose in the first. They lose like within like what, like the first couple rounds.
I think they
They
lost
lost to the Rams in
in
the divisional round.
they did, yes.
Yeah,
So
so
the
they lost in the first actual. They lost.
first round for them, yeah.
Yeah, the first round. The first actual round, if
And
you count.
technically they were better in the regular season they were the
Yeah,
previous season, but I know exactly what you mean. They did feel different.
and then, well, yeah, it never felt like they were truly like the contender out of the NFC. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And
Sure.
then this year feels like what the Lakers were like last year, where it's like, and here we are, where it's like, not quite as bad, but like, even the Lakers, like with how good they've been of late, they're still around like 500. But it's like the thing of they still have like one of the greatest, like they still have the greatest of all time. So like with that, you have to inherently keep them in for that reason. But really, it's for that reason alone. Like it's like I don't know if there's
Well,
much, like the defense is decent, but even then,
sure. The
even then,
defense has been
is it?
our only saving grace in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
I will say, like, this week was set up to be an absolute gift for me because my teams are rarely on national television. So the fact that I got the Buccaneers and the Raiders on primetime national television is pretty cool for me.
yeah.
In the same week. But I will say that that Buccaneers game showed me that this is probably the least fun offense to watch in the history of the NFL. I kind of just wanted to stick scissors through my neck, but they were down by a billion going into the last little bit of the fourth quarter, and they had a miracle comeback, which was ugly as fuck, and the referees basically handed them to them. But there
It
were some things here and there that showed me some signs of some life percolating that if, and this is a gigantic if they can put these things together, and if Tom Brady can just go, okay, listen, guys, we're going to just go back to what the fuck we were doing
Yeah,
before because this season has not worked.
uh-huh.
There's a chance that at the very least they win a playoff game. And then you never know. I mean, with honestly how bizarro and upside down this season has just been for every team in the NFL, it's one of those weird things. Like here's the thing, the Buccaneers look horrible, and you could conceivably see them do nothing and lose, or even somehow find a way to miss the fucking playoffs. And at the same time, you could conceivably see them win the Super Bowl, and everyone's like, "What the hell?" But sure.
I personally think I could see them getting there, but I think if they were to face the Chiefs, they get
Oh, they'd
torched.
be chalked.
If they face the Bengals, they get torched. I'd argue if they face the Bills, they get absolutely torched.
I think if we
Even
played the Bills, we'd be okay.
but I think so. Buccaneers this weekend
Mm.
go to San Francisco, and even
On
though
a
they have
short week.
on a short week in San Francisco, and even though that it's the Brock Purdy show, who he actually was super accurate. Like the thing about like Brock Purdy, like the reason why they're super comfortable with him is that he completed like he completed 67% of his passes. He doesn't turn the ball over, and like he doesn't have a great arm, but like he gets the like
I
he
think there's
does
a
what a backup quarterback needs to do.
yes. He is a very, very serviceable backup and for the short term.
Yeah,
And
Mr. Irrelevant is pretty damn relevant right now.
he very much is. And honestly, the team is so good around him that like they're just gonna make him look a lot better than he is, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I think that honestly, the Buccaneers' problem this season has been that the Buccaneers have beaten themselves in almost every game. I think personally that like the Buccaneers are not a bad team. This is not some shitty situation, whatever. I think they've beat themselves. Like just watching the play calling, it's been horrendous. And that's why I blame the coaches more than anything, especially if you look at the stats of Tom Brady. He's been just as good as he's literally ever been. There is nothing that indicates that Tom Brady's been bad. He's got like 3 interceptions all season. He has been great. The problem has been the play calling. The problem has been we have no offensive line and barely have a running back, but let's run the fucking ball on every goddamn play. That is the issue. And I understand. And like without having that amazing tight end with Gronk, I get it. It is tough, but like you have serviceable tight ends. So saying that we don't have that is a little bit of a fallacy. But yeah, I just think that we have not played the passing game the way that Tom Brady is used to. And I think that's been the biggest issue with them,
But yeah,
honestly.
their offense just like even though like Tom Brady like can still go out there like I don't think Tom Brady's been the issue with this team. I think he's been the only thing like as far as on the offensive end that's been keeping them afloat. But I think the big thing
100%.
but it's about like, this team in spurts can put up offense. This team could go out and score 20, 27, like 26 points in like
100%.
a quarter and a half if they wanted to. They
Easily.
also could get shut out by any team in the league. It's
Any
kind of
team.
insane. It's
No,
it
yeah, it all comes down personally to play calling, I
like
think.
even though they swept the Saints, even though that was like a great win and everyone's celebrating, I don't know if I'd feel super great about a win where like with 3.5 minutes to go, you were down by 2 touchdowns and
Oh, 100%.
you were literally like Tom was probably pondering every single decision he's ever made in his entire life.
Oh, 100%. I mean, it's one of the ugliest games I've ever watched. Honestly, it was the worst offense I've ever had the misfortune of watching. And then also, it's just like at the very end, yeah, you kind of scraped together a win against a team that you should have been kicking their ass. So, like, cool, you won, but like, yeah, no, the team is chalked. But I think that we've pretty much covered and buried our favorite NFL teams to this point. But Sean, I would be remiss if I didn't end the football segment with saying fuck Brett Favre. Do you agree?
Well, in case you forgot, Brett Favre, real piece of shit.
Yeah, so fuck Brett Favre.
But
Oh my god.
I love that the most consistent thing of our pod is now
Yeah.
saying fuck Brett Favre.
Yeah, it's like the Raider report and fuck Brett Favre.
Honestly, that was some fun football talk, man. We got into it
Really
there for
good.
a while. That was good.
No, I really enjoy that. And talking, even in the weeds on some random teams like the Jets and stuff, that's good shit.
Yeah,
Good
look
shit,
at
Sean.
us.
Look at us.
Look, I know a thing or two about football too. People like I go up here talk all about basketball.
All
I
this
know them.
fucking basketballs.
I
Yeah.
do. I've been seeing a whole lot of them footballs in Qatar Hero of late. So
Sean out here double rimming with the fucking ball with none of the rubber on it. Everyone knows the fuzzball, that gray piece of shit. Dude, first of all, is there anything in America worse than double rim? Like, is there literally anything worse than a double rim?
no,
Because that shit is fucking, I
but
mean.
but also, can we just talk about the fact that this World Cup has been going on for a
Yes,
couple weeks now,
sure.
and a
In
lot of
Qatar.
crazy games have happened. A lot of suspense. People are really,
I've got some
really
bets.
well. People are into it, right?
Yeah.
How in the hell are we not having the conversation of guys? Why is this in Qatar?
Oh, trust me,
Also,
that has been the
all of this
conversation.
all of the slavery that was used to build like to put this together, all the corruption that's
Uh,
clearly like taking place there, like and even then
oh, believe me.
just seeing like all the potential things that could happen to tourists and even just how stupid certain tourists like I show speed going over that
I
D
can't
bag.
fucking stand this idiot.
Yeah.
This
He also got
fucking, I
caught
mean, he's
doing
like a teenager, but like, fuck him.
Yeah, well, yeah, he literally also got caught doing a crypto scam like 2 weeks ago, like live on stream.
Sick.
Yeah, and he was
Yeah,
literally called
this
out for it,
dumb
and he
fuck.
forgot to mute his mic on stream and was talking
Oh,
some
I saw
crypto.
this. I saw this. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think Hassan covered that. Yeah, I saw
yeah,
that.
yeah, but yeah,
But
Brett Favre and I show speed. You know what they have in common? They're both pieces of shit.
pieces of shit. Oh,
They're
and
both
so is what's his name? No, not DDP. That's Dallas Page.
EDP.
EDP, that fucking psycho.
Yeah,
Yeah. But no, I've paid slight attention to the World Cup. I was rooting for Mexico, and
I've never
unfortunately,
pretend. I just decided to take off pretending to care this cycle.
I always pretend to care for Mexico, so Viva la Mexico. But like, unfortunately, this year, honestly, like the team just wasn't there. They made a lot of weird decisions with their roster. They didn't even have some of my favorite players on there, so it was kind of strange. But regardless, Mexico was eliminated pretty early. America made it a little further than I thought that they should
Well,
have.
you know it's bad. You know how little we care about a sport when we celebrate the fact that we made it in the top 16. Like
Yippee.
that's our we weren't that bad.
Yeah,
Like
so I
that's
mean, whatever. America made it, and typically I don't really pay much. Literally, the only team I pretty much pay attention to is Mexico. But yeah, no, it's been okay. Ronaldo's still acting like a total bitch. I'm really sick of his shit. Here's the thing: I have a friend of mine who's a diehard, fan of his because he grew up with him being on Manchester United. I get it, and those were his best years. The thing is that now he's a complete bitch who just whines and cries when he doesn't get his way every fucking second of every day of every match. And here's the thing, he wants to be the guy, except when he tried to be the guy in Manchester United, he fucking couldn't. And the
and
team was
now
ass.
and
And
now he
so they
gets to go
dropped
be
him.
and now he gets to go be the
The
guy
guy.
in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, which is very like shitty and come on, dude, seriously. But
Like
it's who Ronaldo is right now. Like honestly, the thing of it is this, right? Like he's on Manchester United, this amazing Premier League team. And he acts like a complete douchebag to the point where everyone's just like, we've had enough of him. And he gets let go. And then he goes to Portugal, of course, his home, and he's playing in the World Cup. And he got taken out of the game and he started doing the same shit he did in Manchester United. Started acting like a little bitch, walking down the tunnel, being like, fuck you, I'm not gonna play for you. So personally, I've had it with him. But also Lionel Messi still also in it with Argentina, of course. I generally don't care much about him either. But I do like him more than I do Ronaldo because Messi is a more respectable player. And just as a human being. But he is going to be playing for my favorite Major League Soccer team, Inter Miami, baby, owned by David Beckham. So I'm very excited for him to come to the States. He'll be extremely overpaid, but it's okay. He's old, so it is what it is.
All I know
Mm.
is that any sport that can end with a game being the score 0-0
Uh-huh.
and a team somehow wins
Uh-huh.
is what I like to call booty cheese with a side of oregano. You know what I'm saying?
I very much agree with you. I will say a lot of times, at least in tournaments such as this, they will do penalties, much like they would in hockey. But no, I agree.
Well,
Ties are
that's what
fucking
I'm saying. Yeah, they do penalties, but that's the thing. It ends up being 0-0 with a team ended up being named the victor. And it's like,
because of
that's lame.
penalties. Yeah.
It's like essentially you're just going down to can a goalie guess which direction you're gonna kick the ball? And
Which
that's the
actually,
and
my
and then
go
and
ahead.
then it's like, all right, it's 90 minutes. So how many more minutes are they gonna play? And
Sometimes they have additional time, but yeah, no, it's and the thing
by the
is like I
way,
watched.
is there any rhyme or reason to what that additional time is and like what
Yes,
they give it? Okay, I'm sure
yes,
there is, but
there
I don't
very
even
much
care.
is.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
no,
even
it's okay. I won't explain it, but yeah,
thank
no,
you.
they do have additional time.
It's one of
And
those questions where I want to know if there's an answer, but I don't want to know the answer. You know
no,
what I
there
mean?
absolutely is. There is a very clear rhyme and reason. Yeah. In fact, there's such a clear reason that it begs the question why you don't just stop the clock. But that's fine.
Right.
Because it's the same thing. No, actually my second favorite team, LAFC, just won the championship and it was on penalties. So that's a yikes. But anyways, no,
Congratulations to Laugh.
I was very I was very happy. Me and my buddy Ramon, we were in Detroit watching it, and yeah, we were very, very stoked.
You mean
But
your other friend? No, I'm
my
kidding.
other friend. But no, honestly, yeah, the World
I'd
Cup has
say
been
shout
kind of
out Ramon,
whatever.
but he's definitely not listening.
No fucking chance. Um, Literally zero, negative 100% chance that he's fucking watching this shit. But no, the World Cup's been fine. It's whatever. I hate where it's at. I hate all of the bullshit going on there. Fuck them. But I do have bets on it, so hopefully, I win some money.
Oh yeah,
Um,
man.
Speaking of cruelty and fucked situations, Brittany Griner is back in America, ladies and gentlemen. She
Thank
has been freed from Russia.
thank goodness, man.
She was in a forced labor camp, which is obviously not what you want. And I've been very much in the middle on this whole situation. I haven't gone full Republican idiot, and been like, oh well, it's her fault. But I also haven't been super on the other side where I've been super lenient. At the same time, I
I
do
mean,
think
she
it
was
was
wrongly detained over something pretty stupid.
she was extremely wrongfully detained. There's no fucking reason she should have had any of this happen to her. That being said, also kind of foolish to go to a country that's currently at war that already kind of hates us, carrying
Well,
something that you
okay, but
shouldn't.
like, all right, but again, I mean, I feel like have we talked about the reasoning why she was over there?
We have, and
Okay,
and I understand that, and I totally
okay,
understand that. All I'm saying though is that when they're actively at war with an allied force with America, not a good fucking move.
right,
That's
right,
all
and
I'm saying.
right, no,
And
yeah,
and
no, for
and
sure.
yeah, this should have never happened to her. I am so glad that she's home. She absolutely did not deserve this.
The thing,
All I am saying is that it was foolish, and I will say that it is fucked up that we had to give up the Merchant of Death in order to get her. That is insane. That is literally what he's known as. Now, of course, is he doing the exact same thing as literally every single fucking military organization for America? Yes. But we consider him a bad guy because he's
right.
not us.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, that's the type of thing you have to do to get to rectify that type of situation. The thing that,
That's insane though.
yeah,
Like
it
I,
is.
I don't know how to explain this to you because I don't want to dive deep into politics of who he is, but honestly, like the trade is fucking insane.
I mean, okay, but like we
And
got,
also the fact that we didn't get back a former Marine who is still currently detained, by the way,
well, okay,
which is
so
very fucked up.
here's the thing that like I was gonna say because a lot of people were like bringing up, but there's this Marine that's being detained and they didn't bring him home,
Yeah,
and
it's a different situation.
yeah, um and like there's someone
Still
who
fucked up
said,
though.
yeah, so like people were bringing up we're bringing that up
Yeah,
and like
Micah
the
Parsons.
well, yeah, so, like, Micah Parsons, like and, like, the family, like came out and said, like, "It's important to us to, like" and it's clear that, we don't begrudge, like, Miss Grindr for her freedom,
Of course
like,
not.
Brit and they've said, like, their situations aren't intertwined at all, and it was always, like, a strong possibility, like, going in that they knew that one would be freed without the other, like
100%.
and also, like, the other thing as well, he is part of the Marines, like a lot of the reports said that like they see him as like they perceive him as like an international spy,
Oh,
and apparent
100%.
and apparently like they were way more lenient with negotiations on Griner, but it also came down to you either can bring her home, you can either bring him home, or you can bring neither of them home. And
Yeah,
unfortunately, when it comes down to it's a civilian or a Marine that you can bring back.
sure.
Unfortunately, the Marine in that situation is gonna
He
do
knows
the
what he signed
duty.
up for.
Yeah, he's gonna do the duty to their country, and it's gonna be the civilian that goes home. So, like, people saying, "It's an outrage, it should have been," it's like, I get it, like, absolutely, it sucks that he's over there. It's
Sure.
sad, it's a terrible situation, but, like, I don't see why we have to say, like, be outraged over which prisoner of war gets to come home. They're both in a
Yes.
terrible situation. Like,
I couldn't agree more. I will say, yeah, no, the situation is literally untenable. Like you can't win. And really the situation was just such a lose-lose from every single angle because it's just like, you have a civilian who is detained by a country that is obviously not exactly fond of us at this moment. Really ever. And they're going to use that leverage and that notoriety to get back a completely unfair and ridiculous trade. And there's really no other way to put it. Like it's one of those things of like, is it true that giving up a civilian who ultimately isn't worth a ton to our country's defense for somebody who is responsible for the most arms deals that in Russia and over there kind of fucked up and kind of ridiculous? That is true. But it can also be true that we needed to do it. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, that's just like
yeah.
the thing. Like, that's what's lost on people, right? Is like both can be true. Like, it
Well,
is lopsided. It is fucked up. It is something that, like, on paper, you would go, there's no fucking way you would trade one for the other.
yeah.
But as Americans, The thing that separates what we do is that we're going to go for our people. Like, that's just who we are, and that's just what we do. And of course, we're going to go for the civilian because she didn't ask for this. She does not sign up for that line of duty.
Well,
That
yeah.
she got caught up in a bad situation that she may or may not have put herself in, and it is what it is. But the thing of it is that when our people are over somewhere where they should not be, we are going to do everything we can to bring them home safe, and that's what separates this country and makes it great.
Yeah, and listen, at the end of the day, like, to me, the way I see it is that it was is that, he put, to like, exactly like you said, he put an American first, he put the civilians first, he did what was in best, in best interest of getting someone home safe,
Yes.
getting someone that, deserves to be home. And,
Yes.
like, listen, like, and people were going to, like, people were going to criticize him no matter what happened.
100%.
But ultimately, like, it's just, at the end of the day, I'm just glad Brittany Griner's coming home, man. I just feel like there's
A
just
100%. And
yeah,
the thing with these international affairs is that like the public is only getting 1/10 of the details, and we're all
yeah,
making all of these assumptions and all of these, bullshit takes about things that we have no fucking idea what we're talking
right.
about. And like, yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's an untenable situation.
Yeah,
It just is what it is.
I'll also say I can't lie in the fact that I've seen memes about the situation that
That
have
are
been
very funny.
that are very funny, but at the
Are very
same time,
funny.
it is kinda weird how quickly people are to meme like, "Oh, this person's in Russia and they could genuinely die. LOL, Brittany Griner in Russia be like," you know what I mean?
For sure. I mean, now she's I believe at this point safely home stateside, which is great.
By the
So
way, do
yeah,
you think I've always wondered, do you think it's because of the fact that we're just reading that information instead of, like, getting the sensory, like, actual, like,
yes.
visual of, like, what that looks like? Do you think it's just because, like, people don't actually perceive what they're reading when it's on Twitter and when it's on, like, an article?
Yeah, a little bit. I so my thing is this, is I think that honestly, a lot of what has become meme culture and why things are the way that they are is I think that because of the internet and because of a lot of different economic issues. I think that a lot of us are just a lot more hyper aware of a lot of the things that are going on around the world and various communities. And I think, honestly, things have not been great.
And also, we get so
Obviously,
much bad news all the time from everywhere that we just get desensitized at a certain point.
yeah, and I don't even know that necessarily it's entirely that either. I think in some ways we have found a way to kind of laugh through the pain in some ways. I think we've all kind of adopted this stand-up comedian type mentality where it's like we know that it's fucked and we know our situation is sad and that these are like real issues. But I think a lot of us have kind of I think America has swung in two different sides where you either laugh through the pain or you get so overly upset about it that it becomes your entire identity. I
It's like
think that that's pretty much the two options.
it's like during COVID, you could either be Facebook, where it's like all these moms and grandpas and uncles being like, "It's the deep state," and getting into into like
Get into
conspiracy
QAnon
theories.
and shit like
Yeah,
that.
and then like people on Twitter are just like trying to find their creative way of expressing through a meme how
Yeah.
depressed they are and how terrible COVID is.
Or if you're a celebrity, you do the worst version of John Lennon's Imagine that's ever been performed in the history of anything ever and make
Dude,
everybody want to collectively
my
get COVID and die.
my favorite meme in COVID was someone tweeted, "I straight up wish I wasn't living through a historical event right now." Like, it was
Dude,
just
it's literally been how things have been for years now. Yeah,
yeah.
it's fucked, man. But no, I just think
Really, ever since the Pizza Palace began.
yeah, I think we caused actually, I think what caused it is Papa John's when he said that the day of reckoning will come. Literally after he said that, that pandemic struck, Kobe died, and all this other shit happened. Like, honestly, Papa John's destroyed the fabric of the universe, and I think we just need to reinstate him.
Well
Like, he's a fucked piece of shit, but like, we need to reinstate him.
thanks for killing my vibe there, Robert, with having to remind me that Kobe's dead. Just
I know
having to have to
it's fucked.
drop that casually in there.
Just dropping it casually right out of the sky into the side of a mountain.
That was the
Uh,
Pizza Palace, everybody.
that was
Hey.
indeed the Pizza Palace, guys. We didn't really talk basketball, but nobody gives a fuck about basketball.
I mean, it's like we're getting to the
It's
point. We're
like, what
getting
are we
close.
gonna talk
I
about?
mean, we're getting close to the NFL playoffs, man. Like,
We
there's
are. I'm very excited.
a lot of
Very
good
excited.
storylines. So, like, when and listen, there's a lot of great stuff happening in basketball, but you hear me talk about that all the time.
It's very true. That's why we have a show that is literally dedicated to it. You fucks. No, the the XFL is around the corner. The uniforms kind of look like shit, but that's okay. They look better than they have the first 2 times around, so they keep getting better. So that is nice. They took away my New York team, so that sucks, and they made
So
them the Orlando Guardians. Kind of stupid, but
I
the
think we
Vipers are in LA.
I think well, we went through a few weeks ago. I'm pretty sure we went through and looked at all the teams and the logos and
We did.
we ranked the teams and logos. Next episode, let's go through and rank all the unis.
Let's please do that. Yeah, I expressed how I was disappointed that my New York Guardians got stolen by Orlando for some
Yep.
reason. Yeah, I really like, I've got a team in LA now, the LA Vipers. It's cool.
I'm
I will say, I think that the Sea Dragons in Seattle have the coolest shit.
I
Just
am
saying.
currently an XFL fan free agent again.
Oh, yeah, you're not returning to the Renegades, eh?
They lost the soul
They,
of the Renegades. They lost. Listen,
they look
this
the
this ain't.
same.
Listen, they might have brought back Bob Stoops. They
Okay.
might have the similar color scheme.
They
But
look
when they went
identical.
from being but when they went from being the Dallas Renegades to being the Arlington Renegades,
Mm.
they lost their soul.
You know, I think they gained soul because now they are living in the hometown of one Hank Hill, who is the greatest propane salesman of all time.
But Robert, I've
Mm.
kept I'm sorry. I glanced over. I see an idiot in a hockey jersey, and I'm like, oh, what's the difference? I'm just kidding. Anyway,
Yeah,
uh,
actually, yeah, a very rare jersey at that.
shout out to Alec if he's listening. Go fuck yourself. But
Yeah, go
anyway,
fuck yourself, our best friend.
I think I definitely have to play my free agency out a little bit. I'm not gonna
Mm.
lie, for the meme of it, rooting for the San Antonio Brahmas and rooting for them with Hines Ward as their coach.
I want to die.
I
Oh no!
Low-key just seems like the move.
Wait, who's the coach of the Sea Dragons? I will say, I'm gonna go with Vegas just because I'm a Vegas guy, but like the Sea Dragons might be my team because they look fucking awesome.
Looking at their coach, I think I'd
Uh-oh.
want to stay. Like, he looks like someone I wouldn't want
Uh-oh.
around children.
Oh no, Jim Haslett. Who the fuck is that guy? Wait, what about my Vegas team?
Let's
Sea
find
Dragons
out.
do look really cool. Go Sea Dragons, eh?
The Vegas Vipers have.
Oh no.
Actually, this guy's they have Rod Woodson.
Oh. Oh wow, he looks like Vegas. I mean, look at that chin beard. Oh
I think they
no.
saw. I think they literally just saw him walk in with that chin beard, and
God damn
they
it.
were like, "You're hired."
He just looks so Raiders.
They were like,
God
"That's
damn
our
it.
guy."
They literally did, dude. He looks so Raiders. God damn it.
I will say,
Uh,
I don't know why, but I've always have just ever since the beginning just the name the DC Defenders.
it's rough.
Yeah, it's somehow
Although
worse. It's the fact that it's somehow even worse than the Washington Commanders. That's saying something.
I will say the worst team name I've ever heard in the history of sports is easily the Houston Roughnecks, though. That's a fucking horrendous name.
Yeah,
Yeah. The
100%.
Roughnecks, are we fucking serious? Roughnecks.
Yeah,
Sick.
yeah. Next week we're gonna get into XFL jerseys. We're gonna make fun of them all. We're gonna rank them all.
I can't
Dude,
wait. I will
we're gonna
say, like
have
I
to.
said, they're better than they've ever been, but they chose some dumb shit to do with them.
Yeah, well, that's when you knew The Rock was cooking. You knew he was gonna cook up some crap. So
They misspelled Dwayne's name in the press release, by the way. They spelled it the way that you spelled Dwayne Wade, which is spelled incorrectly because they spelled it wrong on his birth certificate, but they rolled with it, which is why Dwayne's name is spelled Dwyane. But yes, fun fact about Dwayne.
I love that you know so many facts about a player that you might have never watched actually play basketball.
Doesn't matter. I own 3 of his jerseys. I own 3.
Well,
But yeah, no, they spelled Dwayne Johnson's name
yeah.
that way. It's funny.
Well, Robert, this was a great time, but I
It very
actually
much was, and I would like to go watch my team, in their silver letters and the throwback white
hell,
uniforms with the silver letters. I'm very, very excited. Silver numbers, I should say. Very excited to go watch my team on prime time. Sean, it has been a pleasure.
it has been a pleasure. I'm gonna go to my brother's to watch the video game awards.
Yikes. Anyways, bye, you guys. We love
Catch you
you.
later, everybody. Ow!